guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I am Peter Martin, Tam McManus, Alan Roughie eventually, and Charlie Adam here with us, ready for the big game. You can like, share and follow on our Facebook, and let's not forget, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Would you believe it? We were absolutely slaughtered yesterday, Tam, within 4 minutes of the programme being on by an individual saying, I can't stand the negativity. So clearly, he'd actually picked out the time in the programme where there was indeed negativity. And I can only suggest at this point, Roughie, I need you to be positive about Scotland's hopes today. Surely you've switched from that slightly negative vein to a bit of optimism.
Yeah, I think we all want us to do well. You know, I'm just stating the facts as they are. You know, that we haven't proven away from home against a good side we've got the ability to win a game. But that can change. We've seen lots of games throughout the years that the prediction isn't as it is, and strange things happen. Players get sent off, decisions go against you. We're just hoping that everything goes our way, and I'm sure the manager will be hoping that as well. Every good team has an off night, and let's hope it's them tomorrow night.
Yeah. Charlie, are you feeling confident?
No, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I think we're going to win. I think we'll win 1-0, and I think the big man Dykes is going to get the goal that's going to send us all to a major championship. I do believe that we can do it. Steve Clarke, if we talk about a team or a manager that wants to set up, I'm not saying defensively, but how he done it at Kilmarnock and the results that he achieved, you know, he's the right manager for it, and just hope the lads are raring to go, and hopefully we can get the right result.
Tam, what's your mood ahead of this one tomorrow night?
I think we're going to win. I actually thought we were going to get hammered, but I've totally switched, and I'm thinking we're going to win because, as Charlie says, Stevie Clarke can set up nice and tight, you know, and hitting the counter attack, and we've got players coming into form. We've finally found a striker, I think, Lyndon Dykes, who can be a talisman for us and can hold it up and be that target physical presence up there. So I'm feeling really confident. I think we're going to do it.
Well, let's hope so. Let's get the sense of how everybody else who watches the programme feels about it. Hi to Niall, Dougie, Robert, Craig as well, Gordon McFadgen, Shane Johnson, David Heron, so many people joining us. Brian Roberts, great to have you on board. Fiona's joined us, and lots of people are giving us their thoughts on it. Just even if you think Scotland are not going to win, Craig McGregor says 0-0, Scotland to win on penalties, but please no Panenkas. Yes, absolutely. I don't think my nerves could handle a Panenka in a penalty shootout. Stuart Carruthers says, Peter, it's the optimism that kills you. Yes, well, listen, we've got to be optimistic because we're in a better frame of mind now than maybe we've been in previous campaigns, because slowly but surely something's working that's bringing through young, good Scottish footballers for the future, and we can see it in the amount of players who are playing in the top flight. Give us your prediction. We'll read it out. We'll try and get through as many as we possibly can. What about the build-up to this one? Steve Clarke, the Scotland manager, has been happy with it.
No, I think training's been good, as always, with this group of players. Very key, very focused, understand the task in hand. But for us, it's business as usual. You know, it's a game of football. We know it's a game that we can only win or lose. We know the magnitude of the prize at the end of it. But ultimately, we have to rely on the principles and the way that we've been playing in recent matches. So that's how we look at the fixture.
Yeah, John Benson says, Peter, I'm with Tam and Charlie, 1-0 to Scotland. You must always think we will win. 2-1 Scotland, says Jim Ross. First chance to be optimistic this year. I'm buzzing for the game. Let's do it. I fancy a wee 1-0 win, says Callum Reynolds. Yes, absolutely. We'll take a dull 1-0 win with a shot that comes off a pigeon and then deflects into the back of the net. I don't care how we get it, as long as we get it, even if it's the worst game in history. I just want it to happen for us. But what about Andy Robertson? He knows exactly what the expectation is all about.
we take a hope of a nation onto the flight today and take it over to Serbia, and we hopefully use that as our advantage tomorrow, and hopefully use that as motivation if there's any added one needed. But the lads are ready. We can see that all week that a big game's on the horizon, and we need to put in a performance that can hopefully make this country proud.
Well, he's not going to let us down, Charlie, but just at this point, we've all been wondering, Charlie, what that starting 11 is going to be. Do you have a kind of 11 that you'd like to see start that game?
I don't think it'll differ, really. I think Palmer will come and play in as the right wing back. And I think it'll be a bit harsh on Considine, but I think Tierney will come in and play as the left centre back as well. So I don't see many changes. I think... will he go with McBurney, or will he throw Griffiths straight in to play up there with Dykes? I'm not too sure. I think he might go with McBurney because he's out ball of getting up the pitch. So I think he might do that and wait for Griffiths for the last 20 minutes, and hopefully the little man can come on and give us a bit of magic. But it's a great game to be involved in. The whole nation are behind the team. First time in a long time we've been in this position. And hopefully the lads can cope and we can get a good result.
Yeah, tell me, Charlie, and I know at times since you've joined us, we've had a right good bit of banter about things, but are you similar to all the punters in the Tartan Army who sit on the edge of their seat, jump up, swear at the telly, go mental if there's a goal?
Oh, absolutely, I'll be there. I'm desperate for it to happen. And I'll be saying that he's rubbish and he's rubbish as well. What's he picked in for? That's just my, you just get involved in the game and the emotion as a player. And obviously, I played for Scotland, but you now sit there as a fan and hope that it happens because, I just hope that this pandemic clears up and if we did qualify, we all got an opportunity. Can you imagine how many Scotland fans will try to get to a major championships if we can qualify? It would be phenomenal, and we'll all be there cheering and shouting at the telly like Joe Bloggs in the street. So I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully, let's say, we can get that result.
Peter, there'll be no fans there probably.
Well, honestly, Tam,
we'll qualify. You're not allowed to go. That's a
I was actually thinking that. I was just going to put that to you. I mean, the absolute worst scenario, we get there and there's nobody there.
We're still watching the news.
And the boozers are closed.
Yeah, exactly. Roll on the vaccine, please, so the Tartan Army can mobilise itself.
Can you imagine us three? Remember that video? Was it not so long ago watching? Was it the England game or something that finished at like 10 o'clock? And was it a big game? It finished in the pub.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
That'll be us. That'll be us 4 up.
The penalty shootout. That's right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Charlie. Our faces up against the window, just trying to cheer on Scotland in the European Championships. Although, to be fair, Roughie, the closest I've got to the excitement in a long time. I mean, we talk about Scotland, Italy that day at Hampden Park when Bazar scored from a couple of inches out. But the closest we've been to it, Roughie, I'll never forget. It was myself, you, Chris Commons, Kenny Miller. When Lee Griffiths hit those 2 free kicks, it was almost so many years of pain, and then obviously Harry Kane managed to just put a lid on our excitement after about 60 seconds.
Yeah, it was the closest we've ever had. Trackside, at eye level, everything was absolutely fantastic. We were all jumping on each other when Lee scored it. In fact, I don't know if you remember, but when that Harry Kane cross come over, you had to hold me back because I was just going to come out and pluck it out of the air. But obviously Craig Gordon didn't, and we ended up losing a goal. That's how near we were to the actual pitch. It was just incredible to be typical Scotland, to be so high and then to be so low at the end. But it was great to be there.
And of course, everybody's aware of the legal representation here on PLZ Soccer. Every now and then we do put a disclaimer at the bottom if there's anything that's said that's so factually, it's just not, there's no fact to it. It's totally inaccurate. And I'm really sorry we didn't have time.
Roughie would not have got
that. I didn't have time to make up the ticker tape. Roughie never comes for crosses. This is a lie.
Dracula.
Exactly.
Oh, that.
He never came for a cross in his life.
I came for that one. 2 minutes to go.
Oh, I know. I remember shouting, Tam. I remember shouting, Craig Gordon. I could see the ball coming, and we were all watching it. And I just remember thinking to myself, Craig Gordon, please take the ball and take Harry Kane and fire them right into Rosed. Take one for the country.
Yeah, I remember it. It's haunting. You know, we're so close to beating England, you know, and giving the right good chance. And just when that, you know, Stuart Armstrong obviously should have ran it into the corner. He gave the ball away, and then it was just a catalogue errors from there in. And it just, I think that summed up Scotland, you know, in a nutshell. You know, glorious failure. But I just feel as if tomorrow night is going to be different. I just think we're going to do it tomorrow. There's no more glorious failure. We've had it for too long now. I think this group of players, this manager, are going to be successful. They're going to see us over the line, and we're going to be watching the Euros on the telly next year.
Well, you'll be watching it on the telly. Roughie and I are in the PLZ Soccer outside broadcast van with Charlie. We're on our way. And by the way, knowing Charlie's agent as I do, I think the last time I was at a major tournament was with Charlie's agent and his brother. We were in an old battered red Audi that we'd managed to buy to go and support Scotland. You know, Euro 96, we were there. We went to Italy as well. It was absolutely fantastic, but we'd love to see that. John Benson says, one of my neighbours has a ducat full of pigeons, and one of them is on the way to Serbia to deflect that ball into the net. John, well said. I don't care how we score, as long as we do. And as far as, you know, the attitude and the mindset of the players, Steve Clarke is unequivocal in what he wants from his players going to this game.
I think when you go into every game, it's obviously a message that you want to make sure that you leave everything out there on the pitch. This game, with the magnitude of the game, is probably where I don't need to say that, because the players will understand that if they come off the pitch with regrets, they'll never forget that night. So you go out there, you do your best, you give everything you can, and hopefully the footballing gods give you a little bit of luck, smile on you a little bit, and you get the right result.
Yeah, we need a bit of luck, Roughie, now, don't we?
I met a wee woman down in the news agents this morning, and that's what she said to me.
Right.
She said, did you hear that Steve Clarke talking about we need some of the gods to help us? She says, no, we don't. She says, we need one of the saints. And I said to her, what saint's that? And she goes, St. Jude. I went, St. Jude? I says, what is he the patron saint of? Go on, tell them.
Hopeless cases. Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you are. I have to say, I'm well aware of St. Jude, but nevertheless, listen, I've got a good feeling about it. There's a good crop of guys, Tam. I think that's what's giving us. My only fear, as I said, you know, we will get a little insight into Serbia in the next couple of minutes, but my only fear is the back line, not because there are not good players in it, but just because at times I think, you know, we just haven't had that settled centre of that defence. I don't think we still know what our best two is. We've never been able to say a Miller, a McLeish. You know, you've never been able to say there's a definitive two or a three.
Yeah, listen, this would be my team. I would go with Marshall in goal. I would go Palmer at right wing back. I would go Robertson left wing back. I would go Tierney left centre half, Gallagher right centre half, and McTominay in the middle of the two. I would go the three we've been playing: McGregor, Jack, McGinn, and I would go Christie off of Dykes. That would be my team, and I think that team's good enough, Peter, to go to Serbia. It's got enough quality, enough energy, you know, enough stamina, enough quality to go and get a result in Serbia. So fingers crossed. I think that defence will be strong.
Yeah, that's the 11. Amazingly, Tam, that is the 11 that I mentioned yesterday. And obviously Charlie's deviated and thrown in a couple that could be there. Roughie, do you think it'll be too far away from what we've just been talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm holding my hands up. You know, a back three for me is a worry. And I stated it yesterday. I don't care what you say about Tierney. He might be playing in that centre-half left position with Arsenal. But Arsenal never bought him for that position. Arsenal bought him for an attacking fullback. That's his strengths for me. So I haven't seen him under the cosh yet. I haven't seen him under pressure. If it's McKenna or the Motherwell boy, I think they could handle some kind of pressure. And for me, McTominay, again, he's not a centre half. He lost a couple of goals that a centre half would have dealt with. You know, the one against Israel. He's just not a centre half. I just don't think the two of them are centre halves. That's more the problem. I might be completely wrong. They might be. They might stand up to any pressure or any. I mean, I just think Tierney is a wonderful player going forward. They're one of the best. Defensively, I'm not 100% sure. I really am. If somebody's coming at him and taking him on, I've still to be convinced.
Wow, I have to say I disagree with you there on Tierney, Roughie. I think what we're trying to do at times is, and we'll only find out from Steve Clarke, on trying to accommodate two top drawer players. The other aspect of this, Charlie, is I don't agree with Roughie, because there are many players who have been midfielders who've actually gone back and played centre half. Not necessarily you would associate them with that. I never thought Mascherano was a defensive player, but from the days at Liverpool, suddenly he gets stuck in there for Barcelona.
Listen, I think McTominay's, people criticising that, but he's the best footballer that we've got, as in playing at the back. So if he's going to play the right of one, he's only going to get done with, if somebody comes short and spins long, because he's probably not used to that. But if you want to build up the attacks and things like that, he's perfect for it. He's a good player. He's played at the highest level. I don't see a worry. I don't think Tierney's worries about people running at him. Did you see his clip the other day against Aston Villa when he had nobody around him? That was a worry.
Yeah, but by the way, could anybody raise their hand that has never happened to in their life? You've gone and you're running. Listen,
I'm having a laugh here, but I think Kieran Tierney's a top player. You know what I mean? He's got to play. Before, we need to find our two best players are our left backs, so we need to find a formation that suits both of them. And you can't play 4-4-3-3 with the two of them, because Tierney, I think, is better on the outside of the three, and we'll play three at the back tomorrow night. And listen, it's a huge gamble whatever team we play, because Serbia are a good team. We are the underdogs, but I just think that we were in a good frame of mind, and the lads are confident with the results they've had last month, and they can go there and get a job done.
Yeah, and with that in mind, for the benefit of some of our younger viewers who watch the programme on a regular basis, here is a little insight into times when Scotland did indeed produce a wonderful performance to qualify for a major finals.
Scotland had the chance to end 23 years without a major tournament when they faced Serbia in Thursday's Euro 2020 playoff final. Despite the long absence, Scotland are no strangers to winning crucial qualifiers throughout their history. They competed in the 1954 and 58 World Cups before Willy Orman led them to West Germany in 74, topping a qualifying group with Denmark and the highly rated Czechoslovakia. The Czechs were Scotland's opponents again 4 years later, fresh off the back of Euro 76 success. And they won 2-0 in the opening game in Prague. However, now under the guidance of Ali McLeod, a 3-1 win at Hampden sent his army to Argentina, thanks to goals from Joe Jordan, Asa Hartford and Kenny Dalglish. Jock Stein led the team to Spain 82, and they cruised the qualifiers, topping a group with Portugal, Sweden and Northern Ireland, losing only once. Next time round, things weren't so simple. They required a late Davy Cooper penalty against Wales to salvage a draw, before Stein tragically died after a heart attack. Sir Alex Ferguson took the side into the Intercontinental playoff with Australia, Frank McAvenny and Cooper the heroes in a 2-0 victory, sending the team to Mexico. For 1990, Scotland knocked out France, Mo Johnston scoring twice to beat them at Hampden, before an Alan McCoy strike in a draw against Norway secured their place in Italy. Andy Roxburgh also guided the side to their first ever Euros in 1992, beating Switzerland and Romania on the way. It was a feat repeated by Craig Bound for Euro 96, finishing ahead of Greece after McCoy's solitary goal in the game in Glasgow. France 98 was their last summer tournament, winning their final 3 matches that included a double-header with Belarus and a 2-0 victory over Latvia. The question is now, can the likes of McGregor, Robertson and Dykes be the men to join Dalglish, Cooper and McCoist in sending Scotland to a major finals?
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? And amazingly there, Roughie, we're rhyming off, and you were part of that team, we're rhyming off international countries that we defeated on the way. Sweden, Portugal, France. I remember the France and Mo Johnson with the header at Hampden. I mean, good quality teams, but we had good quality players.
Yeah, we certainly did. I mean, that particular section with Portugal and Sweden and Israel as well, was a tough section. But you're right, the players we had at our disposal then were absolutely top of the game. Playing with Man United, playing with Liverpool at the top of the table. There was a quality side. Stevie Archibald, playing with Barcelona. That's the quality that we had in that side, along with everybody else. So. No, I think the boys that are in the squad just now are just on their way to being up there. I still think it might be a couple of years away before we're talking about them playing with bigger sides. But let's take it as it is just now, and they've done well. That run. That run. I think it's 7 or 8 games undefeated. Although I keep saying, look who it's against. It's still there. It's still in the back of your mind. You haven't been beaten. You're not losing goals. Which is good, and the players will go into that game with a lot of confidence. I don't keep wanting to be in a downer, but if you're playing against Forfar and Breton and somebody and beating them all, and then all of a sudden you get Rangers or Celtic, there's a massive jump. You could go on an 8-game undefeated run, but you've still got to go and beat a better side, and that's my main worry, that we haven't done that away from home. But as I've already said, on the night anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, and I think that's the point yesterday where one of our irate viewers, Roughie, just obviously pinpointed you with your negativity, although I call it realism. But nevertheless, let's hope that fear that you have at the back of your mind, Roughie, doesn't materialise and we do produce something special. Steven Smith says, results are good, but the last few Scotland games have been a hard watch. Well, I have to say, I actually prefer watching them. Well, Charlie, that's the point. I'd rather watch them being a hard watch and winning, because 20 years of pain. And yeah, absolutely, because we've had 20 years. And by the way, Charlie, I have to be absolutely fair on this, because people might just have a scattergun approach and a lack of memory on it. We had a couple of really good players and teams, but we just weren't good enough in the groups we were in. There's been a couple of good Scotland sides that just didn't make it, Charlie. But when we don't make it, what we do in this country is we start going for think tanks, reassessing our whole grassroots football and slaughtering everybody.
Yeah, listen, when you're in that type of scenario, obviously, I'm thinking of a player, that's how you feel, Yeah, listen, we obviously don't qualify for major tournaments, but you got to remember that some of the groups that we've been in have been incredible. Some of the teams, because our ranking's been so poor over the last few years, we've been put in some tough groups, and it's been hard to get out of them. And we're in a situation now where we've got a good group of players, a good squad, and we're one game away from changing that whole mentality of the country. And the lads know what they've got to do, and like I say, I hope that they do it on the night.
Yeah, Brian McNair says, you are 100% right, Roughie, to keep it real with regards to this. Yeah, absolutely. I think we are all of a mind, Tam, that we know the quality of the opposition. I mean, they are a good side. There is no getting away from that. I think we're all aware of that. But if you had asked any Scotland fan, listen, will you take one game to get to a major finals? They would have bitten your hand off, regardless of who they've beaten before.
Yeah, listen, I think we're one game away, and it's all on the night. And I obviously heard Stevie Clark saying about the gods and a wee bit of luck. We're definitely going to need a bit of luck on the night. Games can turn on a bit of luck. A bad decision, an offside, anything, a sending off. You need a wee bit of luck on the night. And Scotland are going to need to play well, really, really well, to a man. They're going to have to have 8 or 9 players playing really well at the top of their game to win the game, but they're also going to have ride the luck at times, because Serbia are going to have the bulk of the possession. They're the home team, they're the favourites. I think man for man they're a better side, so we've got to come up with a game plan that's going to nullify that and take our chances on the counter attack, whether that be a set piece or a John McGinn busting through and maybe getting a goal, or a Ryan Christie or something like that. But we're going to have luck on the night, and we've sadly over the last games where we've needed luck. I think back to the Italy game at home, where, as you were just saying, Charlie was saying about the groups, with Italy, France and Ukraine in our group. we nearly qualified from that group, and obviously we can't forget the terrible decision from the referee in the last minute to give a free kick, but we're so close. We really were the better team that night, and we've got to do it again against Serbia. We've got to play really, really well, take our opportunities, and have that wee bit of luck.
Here's a wee insight into Serbia.
Serbia are the team that's standing between Scotland and Euro 2020, so let's find out more about Thursday's hosts. Currently ranked 30th in the world, 15 places ahead of Scotland, they're currently managed by Ljubisa Tumbakovic, dubbed as Partizan's greatest ever coach, and have been for just over a year now. Red Stars Stadium in Belgrade, the intimidating Rajko Mitic, will be used, although of course no fans will be in attendance. Since the dissolution of Yugoslavia, Serbia have never made a European Championships. They have featured at the 2006, 2010 and 2018 World Cups, although never progressed from the group stages. They usually line up with a three at the back, with wing-backs supporting the three in midfield. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic should be one in the middle. He scored both goals in the semi-final win over Norway after starting on the bench. Number 9, Alexander Mitrovic, has scored 19 in his last 19 games for Serbia, and he'll be supported by starman Dusan Tadic. Questions remain over the fitness of 35-year-old defender Alexander Kolarov. The captain's omission would be a big miss. This team are marked as unpredictable, winning none of their last 6 games in 90 minutes and emerging victorious just twice in their last 6 home matches, but their quality is obvious. The two sides have met twice before in 2014 World Cup qualifying, where a 2-0 win in Belgrade was followed up by a 0-0 draw at Hampden. Given Scotland's newfound resilience and penalty mastery, Steve Clarke's men will take that scoreline all day long.
Okay, I think that gives you a real insight into the quality they have at their disposal. If Mitrovic is not scoring them, Charlie, Tadic is certainly setting them up.
Yeah, listen, Tadic is a good player. Mitrovic, obviously, I think if Kolarov doesn't play, would be a huge blow for him. But I was just about to ask you before we went to that. Would you rather be playing Norway or would you rather play Serbia?
Serbia for me, because I think Haaland would have ragdolled the entire back five.
Well, I think the same. I think that's a better opposition for us.
Tam?
Yeah, listen, I agree. I think Norway. Listen, I fancied Norway to beat Serbia, but Serbia. I watched the game. I watched the last half an hour, and I watched the extra time. And Serbia were by far the better side. So, I don't really know if there's much in it between the two of them. Obviously, Haaland is a top player, but in terms of their actual team, I think Serbia showed on that night in that game that they were a better side. So I'm not sure about that one, but time will tell tomorrow night. I think we're underdogs, but we can go into it and we can get a result. There's no doubt about it, but we have to be confident. We have to be confident. We have to play brave. You have to get on the ball. There's no point in lumping it up the pitch to Dykes, and we've got to be brave and play when we've got the ball, opportunity to play. And if we do that, we've got the ability to go and get a result. But it's going to be tough.
Roughie.
Yeah, I think Tam's exact words were, if Norway beat Serbia, they'll hump us. That was his exact words, and then lo and behold, Serbia go to Norway and beat the team that was going to hump us. And now we're all busting the confidence. This is the team we want to play. My only good thing about it is I don't think Serbia, I've said Scotland are at the moment are a one-goal team. We don't look as if we could get that second goal. I think it's the same with Serbia. I think Serbia are one of the teams, if they score, they'll think 1-0. That's good enough. They don't go out and beat you 2-3 and 4-0. I think that one goal, I think they're a one-goal side as well, and I hope that's the case tomorrow night, because I think...
What's your prediction, Roughie, on the game then?
My prediction will be tomorrow night once I find out what the team's going to be. I thought you were going to say 2 each or something there.
No. What do you mean? Hold on a minute.
I do think
you're not going to give a
prediction.
You're not going to give a prediction until you hear the team.
No. Tomorrow, just to give me another night to sleep on it, and sort of cheer myself up.
Okay.
I want to be a better frame of mind. They have got good players. But
you're turning into one of those. You're turning into one of those pundits now who keeps everybody on tenterhooks and says nothing.
Well, I'll tell you. You want my prediction just now? Then
give us it now. Go on.
Yes,
because you've been so negative. It's unbelievable.
My prediction. Over 90 minutes, it'll be 1 each. After extra time, it'll be 1 each, and we'll win 6-5 in penalties.
Well,
Well, you asked for it, Peter.
Hey,
I can't ask for it. The big man's delivered.
I wish I'd never said it now. I mean, honestly.
He's very precise.
If that happens, Roughie, the entire nation, Charlie, will just be on. We will need a sedative to calm us down because my nerves will be shot.
If that happens, that's exactly what will happen in my house. The telly will be on off, like Roughie just disappeared there.
I mean, that's incredible. 6-5. Can you imagine it, Tam, going the way Roughie has just painted it there?
It'd be horrendous.
Would you be surprised?
No, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it'll be a draw as well. I agree with Roughie. I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll go to extra time. Yep. I
actually think that we might be able to, and I absolutely hope this is the case. Although it'll be nervy, I'm hoping we can win 1-0. I'm hoping we can steal a goal from somewhere and then just adopt an attitude of John Wayne, the Alamo, and make sure we don't give anything away. It could be that. It could be that mad. We've been there before. You've been in situations where, and I'll give you the perfect. Do you know what I'd love? If we scored a goal, Charlie, and then showed all the qualities that the team that played in France in 2007 showed. They threw. I can still see Paul Hartley and Steven McManus and Barry Ferguson throwing themselves in front of shot after shot after shot.
But if you look at this group of players, they've got that in them, haven't they? Your McKenna's, Declan Gallagher if he played, Robertson, McGregor. They go and put the bodies on the line for the country. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think Scotland will just go and try and get one. I think if they can get one, I don't think they'll sit back and allow Serbia to come at them. I think they'll try and go and get another one, because they are. Listen, the lads are in good form at the moment. Armstrong's playing well at Southampton. The lads have got a good bit of confidence in them. They've had a few good results for the national team as well. So I don't think that we have to be, even if we lose a goal, we don't need to panic. It's we only need one goal. There's no away goal. It goes straight to extra time and penalties. There's plenty of time to get it if we do lose a goal. And it's I just hope that, let's say, we can keep a clean sheet and we can nick one on the break.
Are you going for 1-0, Charlie?
I think we'll win it 1-0, and I'll go for the big man every time. I think he's made a right difference to our team since he's come into the group of the players, and I think he's been brilliant since Steve's obviously managed to get him over the line.
Yeah, Tam, did you go for 1-0?
No, I'm going for 2 each.
And then what?
And I hope Scotland win in penalties. I think we're going to get beaten penalties. I hope I'm wrong, Peter.
Right.
I hope I'm wrong.
Can I just say, you just said, I think Scotland can win at the start of the programme. You've had 32 minutes of Roughie and you've changed your mind.
Roughie's seeped into my mind. He's like a poison.
Well,
horrible human.
Billy Ingles, Roughie, has just given us an insight that maybe Charlie and Tam don't know about. And Billy, I cannot believe you've let the cat out of the bag. I suggested that if Scotland could score a goal, then they should display the qualities of John Wayne at the Alamo. And for the benefit of, again, people who are under the age of 30, Billy Ingles has just said, Peter, you are aware that John Wayne lost at the Alamo in the movie. Yes, but Billy, don't let the cat out of the bag. On the Blu-ray version, I stopped it before he lost, so we're all right, Billy. Yeah, I know exactly. I just think we're up against it. If we can nick a goal, who knows? Thank you to the countless people on just giving us their thoughts on this one, on how they think it's going to go. And Kevin McManus says, Tam McManus tipping Scotland to go out. Get out of here, Tam. You're sacked. Cannot believe. But it is an opinion. I mean, 2-2 will be nervy. We've seen it all before. Listen, if it gets to a point where, as Tam mentioned there, or Roughie mentioned, if it gets to a point where it's 1-1 and then all of a sudden a bit of bad luck befalls us and we go out because of some crazy moment of madness, we've seen it all before. It's not as if we've not been in this movie for, over 20 years. We've 22 years of pain. By the time if we qualified, that would be 23 years without a major tournament. It would just be great to be there. Nevertheless, lots of people saying, Tam, doom and gloom, but remember, we'll give you the opinion on it. We hope Tam's wrong. We hope Roughie is right. Certainly not to the 6-5 penalties, but it'll be nervy to say the least. Listen, on the other game, what about the other game, Charlie? It's Israel and Norway. This game has been obviously cancelled because, yet again, a member of the Israeli squad has tested positive. There were 4 Celtic players involved in it there, and they're just wondering whether Beaton and El Hamed might have to self-isolate. That would be a real kick in the teeth for Celtic.
This is a huge blow for Celtic again if this happens. They have a few ones with Edward and obviously Christie as well having to isolate. So it's a huge blow for them if that happens. But you'll have to adapt, and that's the world we live in at the moment. That teams are going to lose players. Celtic have obviously got a strong enough squad to deal with it. It's the clubs that don't. But it's a blow for us as the Israel and Norway match. It's one of these that this COVID thing is just harming teams, and unfortunately for us, we go to Easter Road on Sunday, and we're looking to hopefully that we don't have any problems going there.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, just in case anybody doesn't know, Charlie's Dundee side managed to defeat Cove Rangers, and now they're going to pump Hibs on Sunday in this playoff in the League Cup. It's just look at Tam. You're on a bad run at the moment, Tam. Nevertheless, can I ask you this? I know Tam says they're not. Have you seen gradual improvement in the side, Charlie, from the mistakes and errors that were evident against Hearts?
Tam, Peter, just be honest, the absolute humping we got from Hearts the first day of the season, is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes. I didn't want to hurt your feelings, but yes.
No, listen, we fair play at Hearts, they dominated the game and scored a few good goals, but week after week, we seem to be getting better. Last night was probably the best performance we've played, even though they went down to 9 men. But we done the right things at 9 men. We still kept the level of intensity, the tempo of the game. We obviously got the goals. And, that's just top of the group with 8 goals. So, listen, it sets us up nicely. This is the position we wanted to be in, to go to a Premier League club. Hibs are missing a couple of players. I think Marciano, the goalie, is missing. Porteous will miss the game. So, listen, on the day, Hibs are favourites. We know that. They've got a lad who's in unbelievable form in Nesbitt we have to look after. But, we're underdogs and we got there. We can go there and enjoy it and try and get a result, and we'll see what happens. But, big man's in form himself, 5-5. It's nice to be going there with a bit of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 5-5, Roughie, for a midfielder. By the way. I mean, honestly, that is good. You've got to give him a bit of credit at the moment. He took a fair bit of stick for his Albion Ayeti, tirade at the start of the season.
Where's he?
Calm your jets.
Where's he gone?
There's a long season.
He's right so far. He's right so far,
Chaz. But Chaz, to score 5 from midfield, Roughie, is good going,
Yeah, it's fantastic. After the pelters you gave him after the Hearts game, I'm surprised he sort of got himself together, but it just shows you he's a professionalism. You're not taking criticism for anybody, and he's went out there and done the duty, and that's it, and meant to be seen what Tam predicts on Friday, when Charlie's on the show. That'll be a good one.
If anybody wants to stick one right, I'll watch my penalty for last night, the first one.
Oh, yeah. Quality.
Oh, you missed one last night, didn't you?
Horrendous.
Is that right?
Sunday League, horrendous. It was terrible.
Charlie, have you ever done a Panenka? Is that something you would indulge in?
Never done it. No, I don't think I think it's disrespectful to a goalkeeper. I think, listen, you can have confidence in that, and I've tried it in training, but I would never ever come into a game and try it. I think you just go up, step up, do it right, and try and score a goal and get on with it. I just think if you do miss it, you look like an idiot. You'd rather, let's say, hit a post or have the goalie make a great save and you sort of get away with it,
Yeah, it's funny you saying that you think it's disrespectful. I think football is an entertainment, and if you've got an array of skills and the ability to do certain things, then you entertain. The reason I mention that, again, Roughie, is down to the fact that in the 1976 European Championships, in the end, it went to a penalty shootout between then Czechoslovakia and West Germany. And the last penalty, basically, Vitor Panenka had the opportunity to score the penalty and win the European Championships for Czechoslovakia. Now, remember, this was a communist state. And the pressure then is, if I miss it, the government then takes me and throws me to a train going to Siberia. And he walks up against the then best goalkeeper in the world in Sepp Maier and chips him to win the European Championships. This wasn't just any old penalty.
Yeah, this was the first time we ever seen it done, and particularly it's the final of a major tournament. It looked absolutely magnificent, and everybody gave him the plaudits. But as Charlie said, if you miss it, you look one muppet. There's no doubt about it. And I think the boy last week, was it Fulham he played for?
Yeah, Lookman.
Lookman.
At Fulham. I mean, ask him how he felt. Ask him how he felt after it. He looked absolutely devastated. I'm sure the rest of his teammates would have had something to say to him after it as well. But if you score, it looks great. If you miss, not for me.
Yeah, I think Gary Lineker also had a similar situation in an international at Wembley against Brazil, where he tried that and it failed miserably, and the goalkeeper just held on to it. But listen, if you've got the bottle, please, if there's any Scotland players out there and it's a penalty shootout, please don't do a Panenka. Just rifle the ball into the net and let's get on with it. Is that fair, Charlie?
Yeah, that's fair. Remember, Pirlo's won against England. Remember, was that the European Championship? Was that when he run up and Joe Hart dinked it? Listen, you might have to have the ball. I've just never had probably the confidence to do it. I'd just rather just get it in a corner and try and score it and do that. But to go up and listen, everybody's different, got a different, confidence to do that. But it's not for me. It never ever crossed my mind.
Yeah, Tam.
I've done it once in a friendly game for Colorado Rapids. We played a Mexican team in a friendly game, and I done it to the Mexican goalkeeper, and I scored. And they came running at his goal, and trust me, I was looking for the Mexican cartel for about 3 weeks in my reading class. He was saying stuff to me in Spanish, and I thought, I'm going to get done in here. He's getting Escobar onto me.
That's fantastic. Escobar was Colombian. Anyway, let's crack on.
Who's the Mexican? Who's the Mexican man? Who's the Mexican?
Was that Manolito? Was it that Manolito from the High Chaparral? Anyway, apart from anything else, here's the results. Listen, apart from anything else, here's the results that Charlie was talking about from last night as far as the Betfred Cup. 4-0 for Livingston against Stenhousemuir. Kelty in a 1-1 with Peterhead. Draw for Brora and Forfar. Ross County with an emphatic win over Elgin. And there's that Dundee 3-0 against Cove. Falkirk getting past Dumbarton. Hearts 3-2 against East Fife. And Kelly defeating Clyde 2-0. So there's the other section of it. Queen of the South with a win. Annan Athletic and Stirling Albion, and you couldn't separate them between Wraith Rovers and Inverness, and then St Johnstone against Dundee United, and that went to a penalty shootout as well. The Betfred Cup, I think
El Chapo.
I was going to El Chapo. You happy with El Chapo? Have you looked that up?
I know. I just googled it.
Well done.
He's all ready for Escobar.
Oh, he was.
I dived in. I made an ass of it.
I was going to say to you, Charlie, do you like the Betfred Cup? I mean, some people thought it wasn't actually going to start, never mind finish, but it's going at the moment. How's it viewed by James and other managers?
No, listen, we're happy to play in it, and it's gave us an opportunity to win a couple of games and trying to get confidence from that. And let's say we've got 9 points going to Easter Road. And if we can get something out of the game, then we looks like we'll probably qualify for the next stage. And you never know who you can get. But no, I think being part of any competitions, it's good. At least we're playing games, and the competition's getting up, and we can actually get going.
Yeah. Okay. The Betfred table toppers so far, we've got Hearts, Dundee United, Ross County up there, Falkirk, Annan, Queen of the South and Livingston. And tonight's fixtures, it's Stranraer against Hamilton, Airdrie, Edinburgh City and St Mirren against Morton. Incidentally, St Mirren don't expect a verdict on their COVID charges until the end of the month, and that's similarly so, I think, for Kilmarnock as well. Connor Minges, I hope I pronounced it right, Connor. Some people pronounce it Connor Menzies, but he says, I'm watching this on YouTube and you've got me feeling optimistic. I'm thinking 2-1 Scotland. So, Connor, I hope you are 100% correct in this one. We would take 2-1. And I just get a feeling, like Charlie, that the big man Dykes is going to come up with something fantastic. Just a wee goal that will get us all going crazy. The one thing I do hope, Roughie, if we do win, Roughie, I would advise people just to stay in their own garden with the people that they live in the house with. The last thing we need is everybody jumping about, cuddling each other, in the middle of a street if we qualify, because let's be honest about it, Roughie, it's something we haven't done in such a long time that could happen, but not in the current climate.
No, if it wasn't in the current climate, we might have seen scenes that you see in Italy and Spain when they win their big cups, going around George Square with cars tooting and flags and scarves waving, but that's not going to be the case. We'll just have to celebrate by ourselves, but I'm sure we can make up for it in the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure you can. The other thing I was going to say, Roughie, is Partick Thistle have announced their financial results. It looks as if £120,000 of a trading loss, and overall the club a drop in income of just under £400,000. That gives you an indication of what everybody's facing, Roughie, because no fans are allowed in.
Yeah, I think we all knew that was going to happen. It's worst case scenario. Obviously we are a very well run club. I haven't seen the figures myself, but there will be clubs that are less fortunate than us. I mean, we're looking at Dundee United asking players to take cut in wages, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of clubs haven't budgeted for the no fans coming in. I know for a fact there's lots of clubs thought the fans were going to come in October and they've budgeted towards that. You have to revise that obviously now because I don't think that's going to happen until January. So yeah, it's going to be tight for everybody, but we've got a good support. We've had a lot of benefactors, a lot of people donating money, and I'm sure a lot of clubs will be the same. Fans are the lifeblood of every club, and I'm sure fans will be the ones that are helping these clubs that are struggling to get through this.
Yeah, and just on that point, Tam, I don't know if you've been watching it. Have you been watching the first episode of the BBC's documentary Inside Hearts? I mean, it's a clear indication. It's a clear indication of the Hearts fans and how fantastic the foundation of Hearts has been. And of course, our very own pundit Steven Naismith is on there giving it big licks as well.
Yeah, it does. The foundation of Hearts, you've got to take your hat off. They have really supported the club. They're putting in an amazing amount of money every week, every month. Direct debits, normal supporters helping to keep the club afloat. And I really enjoyed the programme. Anne Budge came across as a very lovely woman. As I said, I'm quite angry now. I've been getting abuse. But the one big shock for me was in hospitality when it was showing you everybody that was there that never seen your face tucking into the grub and free bevy, courtesy of your Auntie Anne.
Well, to be fair, every time I've called the results for the Jambos, I've called it correct. I just didn't see the last 6 months coming with Roughie's skullduggery with his fellow compatriots on WhatsApp. I didn't see that coming. But everything else, I seem to have called it correctly, Tam. Stephen McVeigh says, we're used to not celebrating. Stuart Ramsey says, Peter, if Scotland win, you'll hear me in Glasgow all the way from the West Midlands. Stuart, I hope I actually can hear you from the West Midlands going crazy about it. Now, I'm looking here at a little bit of news that I think will be one piece of good news, Tam, for Celtic. Celtic's fans certainly will be happy. Jeremy Frimpong hasn't had a bad injury. There was a real fear that he would suffer ligament damage. Now, I've seen this from 2 or 3 angles, and it's a bad tackle. And the referee got it wrong. I certainly wouldn't indulge in some of the stuff that we've had. There's a real campaign against Andrew Dallas on this one. He got it wrong. He couldn't have seen it because the angle that I saw the tackle from Devante Cole on him was straight red.
Yep, It's a shocker. It really is, Peter. I seen it straight away when I was watching it on the TV. He comes right down his knee. It's a terrible tackle. And Andrew Dallas, for me, I cannot believe he's not seen it. I mean, he's not that far away. The fourth official's there. Between them, they should see that as a very, very dangerous tackle. And it's not the first time Frimpong's been on the end of a tackle like that. So I think it's right for Celtic to be asking for protection for their players, because particularly Frimpong, that could be a career-ending tackle. It's a straight leg with studs on his kneecap, and he's lucky to get away with it. So I think there's got to be questions asked of why Andrew Dallas didn't send him off, because he's got to have seen that.
Well, the answer to that, Roughie, is he didn't see it. And he wasn't helped by his officials.
I'm not disagreeing with the both of you, but in the first instance, when I saw it on the television, I never saw the leg going into his knee. When I saw it the second time, when it slowed down a wee bit, I definitely seen it, and it was bad. But that might be the case. Andrew Dallas, maybe the referees say that if they don't get a clear view of it, they can't make a decision. But certainly he didn't have the luxury of watching it again like I did. But I mean, you were at the game, Peter. I just thought it was an angle. It happened so quick. I don't think there was any intent in it. I think it was a late challenge, and he definitely did catch him. So it's what you see first you've got to judge on.
I agree with you, Roughie. I was at the game and I certainly didn't look upon it as a really bad challenge. I had to see it from about, a later camera angle that showed you it was right down and it could have been a nasty one. But Andy Clark makes a good point as well. He says, Peter, Andrew Dallas also missed a penalty claim for Motherwell, which I thought Motherwell had a good shout for as well. But it didn't have the referee didn't have an impact detrimental to Celtic in the game, because they won it in the end by 4-1. But I still, at this moment, Charlie, I still wouldn't like VAR instead of some of the mistakes that are made. All of them made human error, but I wouldn't like to see VAR the way it's going down there when Patrick Bamford is called offside for pointing where he wants the ball. The game's a bogey down there at the moment.
Yeah, it's causing havoc, and I said right at the start we don't need to bring it in. We're just even errors that are no errors, we're still making it the wrong decision. So I just think in England they have to get rid of it. It's causing chaos, and can you imagine if it did come up to Scotland, what would happen? So it was. I've not seen the Frimpong tackle, so I can't really comment on it. But if you're saying it was a bad tackle, then it's obviously a worry. But the good sign is for Frimpong, it's not a serious injury, and he'll look to be back soon. But he was, he's escaped one there, and like I say, Celtic, Rangers the same. Every team's the same. They'll look for protection from referees, and listen, referees have a hard job, and it's a tough man to be a referee.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't take that job for all the tea in China. Now, a couple of things before we finish. One of them, which again, I'm an ambassador for Show Racism, the red card, Roughie, and the FA chairman, or the now gone FA chairman, Greg Clark, got it woefully wrong in front of the Commons Select Committee when talking about racism. And I think this is basically down to education. Some of the wording that has been used, never mind towards black and ethnic minorities, but also people who are gay playing football, I think it highlights that there needs to be more done, and not just for 2 weeks of the season, Roughie. This is something I bleat on about constantly. Show Racism the Red Card is a brilliant organisation, totally underfunded in Scotland. I mean, if we're really serious about it, we should be, putting a lot more money into it at the grassroots level and trying to get some of the kids to actually educate their parents, because it's never too late. But it certainly shouldn't be a 2-week period, taking a knee, showing a card, and then that's it, forgotten about. This needs to be, as I've mentioned on countless occasions, Roughie, a 52 weeks of the year campaign to educate people.
Yeah, and we certainly know there are people out there like Mickey Weir, doing their best, going around the schools, and I think that's where you've got to start. I think if you start there, you've got a chance to, let the young kids know what really is going on in football. And I think the more high-profile players that come out and give their side of the story of what's happening to them will help as well. The boy who's just resigned, I don't know a lot about him. I thought he was a big person who was really going for it, you know, and promoting it down there. You know, obviously his choice of words, you know, have been his downfall. He has got a reason for that. You have to believe it or not believe it, but I don't really want to get into it because I don't know that much about the guy, but I thought he was the main guy down in England who was promoting, you know, everything in favour of it. But his downfall seems to be because he's used the wrong words in a context.
Yeah, and Tyrone Mings, the Aston Villa defender, has mentioned the fact that by using those phrases, it just shows you that there's still a considerable way to go in the battle against racism.
That phrase may have been acceptable once upon a time, but I think with what is going on in the world, probably highlights those comments today. Probably highlight even more than I could, even more than what the code can, even more than what players or staff can. That we still got a long way to go. I don't think there's any shame in that, but we still have a long way to go, both in our association, but in wider society as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just racism, it's sectarianism as well, and it's also homophobia. There are many areas which I think the Show Racism the Red Card, Kick It Out campaigns do some fantastic work. But it's got to be sustained and it's got to be funded over a longer period of time. And obviously, I think, the greater emphasis is on making sure the kids take it through the generations as well. But it's a difficult job. And I know up here, and I always like to compliment them, Tam, Mickey Weir and Derek Ferguson, Barry's brother. They do great work along with Gary Wales, I think it is. Or is it? No, the guy who played for, I don't want to not mention his name, he played up front for Hearts and Rangers, Gary McSwiggan as well. You know, I've encountered them on more than a few occasions going around the classrooms as well, which is great. And we get every year a big celebration of all the schools to try and come up with artwork and ideas on how to actually educate people on racism and how to avoid getting sucked into it.
Yeah. Listen, I can remember being at school. It's been going a long time in Scotland. You know, I can remember going to schools, going to my high school, and they were coming in with the Show Racism, the red card things as well. And as you said, Derek Ferguson, Mickey Weir, particularly those two, they're out in the schools all the time. But it's got to be better funded up here. As you said, they're out there. They're not full time. They're in now and again. And as you said, 1 week a season holding the card up is not enough. You've got to be doing it every week. So I think obviously it's an unfortunate choice of words from the guy at the FA, and that's cost him his job. But I think you've got to be very careful of what you're saying these days, and what you're particularly in a position like his.
I'm looking at it.
Sorry, but you don't even see during the season it branded round the stadiums or anything like that, do you? As well now, you know what I mean. There's not enough, like you say, there's not enough emphasis on it week in, week out, of this happening and trying to go with it, because it's massive in the game, and you know, on the outside as well, it's trying to educate kids from the school levels up. But I don't see there's enough promotion of it, not just that 1 week a season, but every other week there should be something up showing it, maybe even on TV interviews, or you know, billboards going around the Premier League grounds or something like that. There needs to be out there more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more of it needs to be down to funding. It's a battle up here for Show Racism the Red Card to sustain it, and it needs to be more and more people that, you know, kids can relate to, more and more high profile people. And I'm not talking this celebrity culture, I'm just more and more people who absolutely understand what the problem is and can go to the heart of it and try and educate people. That said, you know, there's a lot of good work being done at the moment, so we have to be very positive about that. But as Tyrone Mings said there's a lot more to go, and we have our own particular problem in this country that comes under that banner in sectarianism as well. So anyway, the great thing that we do have in this programme is we have positivity, we have opinion, we have a bit of a laugh, and we definitely appreciate every one of you giving us your thoughts as well. At 14, in fact it was 16:33, Tam McManus switched his opinion because Roughie started off with 32 minutes of negativity, and then Tam swayed towards a Serbia win.
I know.
So in the last 60 seconds, Tam, I'm giving you the right to change your mind. How's it going to go tomorrow night?
We're going to win 2-0.
Fantastic. There you are. And that is magnificent.
I'm sorry for letting Roughie seep into my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I can
Sorry.
only suggest at this point that Tam has been now drinking Roughie's gin and fresh orange and has gone completely over the top. If it's 2-0, I'll be jumping up and down in my front garden with my Scotland flag and my Scotland shirt on. Anyway, thanks to Roughie, thanks to Charlie Adam, and also thanks to Tam McManus. All I would say to you, calm your jets. Roughie's away already. I haven't even got the theme music on, and he's off. He's worse than you, Tam.
He's away to get his gin.
Unbelievable. He's gone before I've even said goodbye. But what I was going to say to you is, don't forget to like, share and follow us if you love your football. Join the football family. And over and above that, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I will leave you today on the 11th of November with this thought, which I think so many of us should remember. The fact that you are able to comment on football, enjoy your football, albeit not in the stadia at the moment, and the fact that we are able to talk about football is down to more than a few generations of people in your family and my family and everybody's family who gave up their lives so that we could have a bit of freedom and a chance to live hopefully a long and fruitful life. And that is what we should remember today on this programme. Right across the whole of the UK, people are remembering those in the First World War who gave up their lives so that we could have a better life in the future, and we will never forget them for it. Thank you for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit Arnold